We've all heard about wars, but there is a war in history that wasn't between two countries or groups of people. Instead, this war was against a bird known as the emu, and you will be shocked to learn that Australia was defeated. The story begins after World War I, where large numbers of discharged farmers who served in the war were given land by the Australian government to take up farming in Western Australia. Australia suffered badly during the Great Depression in the 1930s, which began with the Wall Street crash of 1929 and rapidly spread worldwide. Like in other nations, Australia faced years of high unemployment, poverty, low profits, deflation, plunging incomes, and lost opportunities for economic growth and personal advancement. In 1929, these farmers were encouraged to increase their wheat crops, with the government promising and failing to deliver assistance in the form of subsidies. Despite the recommendations and promised subsidies, wheat prices continued to fall, and by October 1932, the situation intensified. Farmers prepared to harvest the season's crop while simultaneously threatening to refuse to deliver the wheat. The farmers' difficulties were worsened by the arrival of approximately 20,000 emus. Emus regularly migrate after their breeding season, heading to the coast from the inland regions. With cleared land and additional water supplies made available for livestock by the Western Australian farmers, the emus found that the cultivated lands were good habitats, and they began to forage into farm territory, particularly the marginal farming land. The emus consumed and spoiled the crops and left large gaps in fences, allowing rabbits to enter and cause further problems. Farmers relayed their concerns about the birds ravaging their crops, and a deputation of ex-soldiers was sent to meet with the Minister of Defense. The minister readily agreed, although with conditions attached. The guns were to be used by military personnel, troop transport was to be financed by the Western Australian government, and the farmers would provide food, accommodation, and payment for the ammunition. The operation started. However, a period of rainfall caused the emus to scatter over a wider area, and the mission was stopped after 1 month. On November 2nd, 1932, the troops were redeployed. As the birds were out of range of the guns, local settlers attempted to herd the emus into an ambush, but the birds split into small groups and ran, making them difficult to target. A second round of gunfire was able to kill a number of birds. Later the same day, a small flock was encountered and perhaps a dozen birds were killed. By the 4th day of the campaign, Army observers noted that each pack seemed to have its own leader, a big, black-plumed bird which stood fully 6 feet high and kept watch while its mates carried out their work of destruction and warned them of the Army's approach. After this, the Army changed their plan according to their enemy and loaded a gun on a truck and started firing. However, aiming from the top of a truck was nearly impossible, and this plan also failed. 6 days after the first engagement, 2,500 rounds of ammunition had been fired, and the number of birds killed was nearly 200. On November 8th, members of the Australian House of Representatives discussed the operation and said if they had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world. They compared the emus to Zulus, whom even dum-dum bullets could not stop. On November 13, 1932, the military found a degree of success, with approximately 40 emus killed. November 15th proved to be far less successful, but by December 2nd, the soldiers were killing approximately 100 emus per week. On December 10th, the report claimed 986 confirmed kills with 9,860 rounds at a rate of exactly 10 rounds per confirmed kill. By December 1932, word of the Emu War had spread, reaching the United Kingdom. Some conservationists there protested the cull as the extermination of the rare emu. An eminent Australian ornithologist described the war as an attempt at the mass destruction of the birds. The government introduced the bounty system that had been instigated in 1923 was continued, and this proved to be effective. 57,034 bounties were claimed over a 6-month period in 1934. However, when this news reached the media, people were very upset with the Australian government. Consequently, Australia also stopped this operation. Australia doesn't control 20,000 emus, but today there are nearly 600,000 to 700,000 of emus present in Australia. Farmers have installed fences around their fields to protect their crops, and it's now very common to install a fence around the field. Now, farmers are safe from emus, but this is a war that we remember today. We expect that you will like our video and also share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.